I look at it this way. I think I am doing a public service when I go to a bookstore or I'm online and I see a book in need of a good home. Who am I to deny that book a good home on my shelf? Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and as always, guys, I am Andrew, and today it is time for a book haul, and it's going to be, it's not the craziest book haul, but it is a book haul. Before we get into that, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow, and you can check the description box down below for links to all my social media, including information about my Patreon if you want to help support what I do here. I appreciate all of my patrons so much. Thank you all so much. It means the world to me that you support my hobby. That said, guys, we should jump into this book haul rather quickly because there's a lot. Let's bring my laptop over because I've got my Amazon purchases pulled up. And I skipped the digital section in the last book haul just because it was a bigger book haul. But we're going to start out with A Path of Blades by R.E. Sanders. Went ahead and bought this one in August. I fell in love with the cover. And it's also got a pretty interesting premise, which I don't remember off the top of my head. But please go and check this one out because it sounds really, really cool, which is obviously why I picked it up. I then went and picked up The Keeper Origins, the complete trilogy by J.A. Andrews. And I got this one, because I believe it was free at the time. And J.A. Andrews is one of those authors I've been wanting to check out recently, so I decided that if I go ahead and pick this one up, then at least I've got it locked and loaded for when the right time strikes, and I can get this one underneath my belt. I picked up Stellar Instinct for Booked. This is Agent Renault Adventures by Jonathan Navarre. This is kind of a soap opera, or space opera, I should say, space opera sci-fi type of deal. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like it's got a lot of action and adventure. I'm just here for it. I've heard good things about this book, so I wanted to add it to my digital collection so that I could experience it. We got The Name of the Shadow by Mars G. Everson. And this one also just has a really cool cover. I did a lot of cover buys in August because I bought this one kind of towards the tail end of August. I mean, just look at this cover. It looks fantastic. I could do shadow puppets right here with all the light. Anyway, sorry, just one of the random thoughts that like bounces into my head when I'm recording. I picked up and read The Shattered Spirits, The Fall of Ishkarn, The Fall of Ishkarn by Cal Black. Cal Black is one of my favorite self-pub authors. This was a short little kind of eldritch horror novella, and it was really good. I gave it about 4 stars, and it was kind of my first kind of eldritch horror style read. Really, really, really good. I then had a credit to burn, and a couple people have recommended this one to me, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. This is The Six Gun Tarot, Golgoth Book 1, R.S. Belcher. And it's got a really cool cover. I got it on audio, mainly because why not? I'll get to it a lot sooner if it's on audio. And I just picked that up based off of a lot of recommendations. I got The Fleeting Word, Collation Legacy by Andrew D. Meredith. I believe this is the first novella in the collation cycle. So I think it's a prequel, though. And I haven't quite gotten to this one yet. I've actually got a couple things from Andrew D. Meredith that I need to get to. But I will get to them because he is one of my auto-buy, auto-read authors. So it's just a matter of finding just a little bit of time to fit it in. This one was sold to me as a Slavic fantasy, which the only other Slavic fantasy I have read was by Andrew D. Meredith. I actually went and recommended this book to Andrew as soon as I heard about it. This is called The Song of the Siren, Raven Song Book 1 by Nicholas Kotar. Again, sounds really cool, and it's got the cover right there. You can check it out. It sounds amazing. I plan to read this one. Hopefully, I mean, fingers crossed I can get to it by next year, but if not, it's there. It's waiting for me, and I'm excited. I also picked up Forge Master, a lit RPG adventure by Seth Ring, and I had seen this cover before, and I'm kind of obsessed with forging. Like, I watch like Forging in Fire. There was a YouTube thing called Forged in Fire, or Man at Arms Reforged. There we go. I was gonna get it right eventually. I used to watch all that growing up. So when I see like somebody at a forge or like an anvil, I'm intrigued. And Seth Ring is somebody that I really want to be checking out a lot here soon, so why not? And there's also another Seth Ring in a minute. I also picked up on audio because there was an Audible sale for this one. It was The Blighted Stars by Megan O'Keefe. And I keep buying Megan O'Keefe books, having not read Megan O'Keefe. So hopefully I don't regret this purchase. But yeah, I have this one now. I don't really know what it's about, other than a lot of Megan's books just sound intriguing to me. And then I just did a pre-order for this one a couple days ago. This is The Last Spell Night, Book 1, Purpose, by T.J.J. Klumvik. And this one, the art style reminded me of like Claus, the Netflix like Santa Claus movie, Claus. It just, I don't know, the older knight on the cover really called to me. I like older protagonists, and B, like the art style of the cover. I was just like, yep, I don't even need to know what it's about. I'm going to go ahead and pre-order that, and I think it's going to be awesome. And that ends the digital section of this book haul. Speaking of Seth Ring, we'll just start there. I got a review copy of Dreamer's Throne. This is book 1 in a new series from Seth. And it follows, it's kind of a darker fantasy, and it's creepier. I'm actually reading it for this month. You can kind of see he's missing his hand here. He's in a wheelchair. He's a scribe. So we've got a disabled protagonist in a darker kind of lit RPG world, and I'm very excited to try this one out. So, yep, we're going to add that to the collection. I've got so many of Seth's books on dock to read now. I then picked this one up mainly because it just sounded intriguing at the time. Like, I was scrolling on Twitter and somebody was promoting this book. I think the author was. And I was like, okay, the cover looks awesome. The premise sounds cool. Why not? And this is The Promise of Plague Wolves by Coy Hall. This just came out. It's a Doran Toth story. There's another one of these, something Jackals, that I really want to get my hands on. I've got it on my Amazon wishlist to pick up here soon. The Hangman Feeds the Jackal. There we go. That's what it's called. I really want to get into that one. But it's like a historical fiction. It's set in Austria, 1686. Two plagues rage in the countryside. One plague is smallpox, a torturous disease that ravages the body, turning homes into tombs. And the other ailment is more mysterious, a scourge of occult origin. That just sounded so cool at the time, and it still sounds really cool. So I added that to my collection. And again, I'm falling in love with short books. So yeah, that sounds amazing. I then got 2 amazing gifts from my friend and patron, Palmer Pickering. She sent me His Majesty's Dragon. This is Temeraire book number 1 by Naomi Novik. And this is kind of historical fiction with dragon riders. So I'm very excited to get into this one. And then she sent me The Umbral Storm, and this is an SPFBO 8 finalist from last year by Alec Huston. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, and I just love the cover art. Hey, let's look at that cover. Look at the spine. I mean, everything about this physical copy is beautiful. So thank you so much, Palmer. I really, really appreciate it. Whenever you guys send me book mail, it just brightens my day. And then next up, my buddy Pete was kind of going through his Tetris pile and doing some unhauls. And during that live show, I piped in and I was like, hey, you mind sending me a couple of those? He's like, sure. So one of the ones he was getting rid of is John Scalzi's Old Man's War. This is a sci-fi that has like older protagonists where basically like older generations are sent off to war to fight. And it just sounds super interesting. I've been hearing about this one for a couple of years now here on BookTube. And while I don't absolutely love mass market paperbacks, like I'll take what I can get. And this one's actually got pretty generous text. So even for a mass market paperback, I think that I can definitely do this one. And then I'm actually on the hunt for hardcovers of this one, mainly because I just want them, because this one is a mass market paperback and it's got a little bit smaller text. But we got John Marco's The Eyes of God. And I've recently been kind of just collecting John Marco's books because John Marco is a great friend of the channel and I just want to read all of his books and support his work. Speaking of John Marco, of course, we've got these 2 as well, making a return to my shelves, but this time, instead of mass market paperback, they are in trade paperback. So we've got The Grand Design, and we have got The Saints of the Sword, there we go, by John Marco. So there are those 2. All right, and then this stack is all one series. This is the Thousand Li series by Tao Wong, and I read the first 2 books a year and a half ago. And then they kind of reached out to me and they're like, hey, would you be interested in trying book number 3? So they sent me book number 3, but then I had book number 3, but I didn't have book 1 and 2 anymore because book 1 was like a large print hardcover. And I didn't have 2 because I did that one digitally, so I decided to just pick up all 7. So, already read is we have The First Step. I've already read this one. The First Stop I've also already read, which is book 2. And then we've got The First War, which is book 3, and I've already read that one. But the ones that I haven't read already is The Second Expedition, The Second Sect, and this is all cultivation fantasy. And I really enjoyed this series. We've got book 6, which is The Second Storm, and we got book number 7, which is The Third Kingdom. And then there's book 8 and 9 that I haven't quite picked up yet, but I plan to here soon. But we're going to set those right there because I don't want to drop them because I've already done so once. And editing Andrew here because, of course, I had some late show-ups that showed up right after I filmed this. Like, one of them literally the day that I filmed my book haul. I was like, I don't have anything out, do I? No, I'm safe to film. Of course, that was, in fact, not true. And I received Ruins of Smoke by João F. Silva. And this is a prequel novella to Seeds of War. And look at that continuation. Doesn't that look so good? So this is a prequel to The Smokesmiths. So this novella, super pretty cover, super short. So hopefully I can get to this soon. And then of course, I didn't know that they were going to release this month, but when they did, I wanted to make sure that I got it on like for release price instead of secondhand price because I've gotten the other 4 secondhand, which means I paid up for them. But I got Across the Sorrow Sea by Anthony Ryan. This is the Seven Swords book 5. Also super short, but I mean just super beautiful. And again, this is a Subterranean press edition, which means numbered and signed by Anthony Ryan himself. So I'm adding that to the shelf. And then I got this review copy, The Sins of Kings. And this is by Daniel Thomas Valente. Just look at this cover. Isn't this cover super cool? I mean, look here. It's being described as Gardens of the Moon meets the Blade itself. So that sounds very interesting. But those are the books that I don't have included in the book haul. And then I've got 3 more Stephen King books to add to the shelf. I've got Lacey's Story by Stephen King. I know this one's kind of got mixed reviews on it, but I know it's one of King's favorite books that he's written, which has me very intrigued to give it a shot. I've then also got Rose Matter, which is an older one, but I definitely think it's been told to me that it is a very dark story, but at the same time really good. And then, of course, I picked up the new release, Holly, because I wasn't going to let the new release pass me by, despite the fact that I haven't even started that sub-series of books by King yet. But we've got those to add to the shelf. I can't quite reach to wherever I'm going to put those. We've got a few books left here. We've got right here, Chaos Risen by Mark Holloway. Of course, I was going to add this book to my collection. I need to read the 3rd book, but I have really enjoyed the first 2 in this series, and I cannot wait to see what Mark has got in store for me in this entry. And then, I don't know if I already talked about Uzumaki, but I am both hauling and unhauling Uzumaki from my collection. I've read this one, and it just wasn't for me. I couldn't connect with the characters. I thought the art was cool. I thought the theme was cool. But I had a difficult time identifying with characters who have no survival instincts whatsoever. Like, it felt kind of like they just had given up. It was very weird. They turned a blind eye to everything that happens in this book, despite it being quite clear that something was wrong. So that was just something that I had trouble doing my suspension of belief with. So I'll be adding that one to my Pango book, so it is what it is. And then we've got these 2, and then I've got a couple more things to talk about. So I was sent these by the author, J. Patricia Anderson. We've got Daughters of Tith. And this one is a big, chunky book with a lot of text. I heard this is a complex read, but at the same time, it's very rewarding and a clean fantasy. So I'm very excited for this one, and I fell in love with the cover. I don't know what it is about a big old tree on the cover that fills me with joy, but there it is. Supposedly it's like multi-realm, different types of humans, it's just an expansive story. And then I also got her new novella, Your Blood and Bones, and this cover just screams awesome. Kill the monsters when they're found, no matter who they used to be. This sounds so cool. Super, super cool. I'm hoping I can fit that in here soon whenever I've got the smallest gap that will fit in a novella. I am going to be all over that. And then I got 2 more books by the same author. We've got Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wong. I've already got this one on ebook, but I wanted the hardcover to match my other Emma Wong hardcover, and that's Sword of Kaigen Wraithmarked edition Kickstarter. It's fantastic. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I absolutely love the end pages. My only complaint here is my back cover doesn't want to open. It's very tight. I'm very, very nervous to kind of... There we go. It'll loosen up a little bit, but gorgeous naked hardcover. Gorgeous. Just everything about this edition. They went all out on this. It is absolutely stunning. I am going to be Mylar wrapping this because I do not want this getting damaged. So I have that. Beautiful. There's been 1,000,001. Well, probably not 1,000,001 because there's only like 4,000 copies. But there's been a lot of coverage of this edition here on BookTube. And, of course, the bookmark, signed, silvered, and tons of prettiness. Speaking of bookmarks, I was also sent a lovely little envelope full of some signed book plates and bookmarks from R.J. Barker. He kindly sent those to me after I was just like, yeah, I mainly bought the broken binding edition of the Gods of, is it Weirdwood? Wormwood. I always want to say Weirdwood, Wormwood, mainly because it was signed. And he was like, oh yeah, here you go. So thank you, RJ. That means the world to me. And then I remember saying special editions for stuff I have a tie to, an emotional tie to. And right here, we've got the Folio Society edition of The Neverending Story, which is one of my favorite movies growing up. And I've never actually read the book. And I decided if I was going to read the book, I wanted it to be from something that was absolutely next level. This thing is stunning. End papers are gorgeous. The text is a slight blue. I don't know if you can see that, but it alternates between blue and orange. You can kind of see a color difference there. There are interior illustrations right here. This book is just absolutely stunning, and it's gotten a gorgeous slipcase as well. So I've added that to the collection. And then the final thing that I have to show you guys is my One Piece box set here. It is in all of its glory. If you were following the adventure, I had a lot of false starts getting this. You've got to be very careful. Some of these that are listed out there on Amazon are fake, but this one is real. And you can see that it's real because it's in fantastic shape. It's got the handle like it's supposed to. The one I was getting didn't have this handle. This piece of art was turned sideways. It was all kinds of wrong, but this is gorgeous. I'm already 2 volumes in, and I'll be reading the 3rd volume today. But that is my book haul for this month. Let me know in the comments what you got for your book haul this month, and let's have a good old discussion. But that's all I really got for you, so until next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.